Our next speaker is going to be Claire Dean. She is one of the world's foremost experts on rock art conservation, by which I mean the treatment of sites when they are damaged and also treatments to prevent damage. Please take it away, Claire.
Thank you, Linnea. Good morning, everyone. And it's lovely to see names I recognize. Some of you I haven't seen in years. So a lot of you I've worked with over the years. And I'm glad you're all here. Thank you for having me. Unfortunately, I also have to give an apology. I cannot stay for the whole of the workshop as I have to drive to a job later this morning, early this afternoon. So I'm going to try and stay as long as I can. But otherwise, I'm sure you can get my email address from Linnea or somebody if you have questions and you need an answer for that I can't address in the time that I have with you. So I'm a conservator. I work on rock image sites. I also work on museum collections and as a general what we call an objects conservator in my profession. I'm in private practice based here in Portland, Oregon, and I just calculated that this is my 38th year of practice, and this morning it feels like it. So conservation kind of comes in two forms. We have interventive work, which is the treatment side of it. In my case, it's for objects, it's doing preservation work so that they're available for research or display in museums. But when it comes to rock image sites, it has to do with the physical preservation of the sites. And unfortunately, and I know a lot of you are familiar with this, a lot of that work involves mitigating vandalism, particularly graffiti, which is not what I got into conservation for, but it seems to dominate a lot of my work, sadly. The other side of conservation is what we call preventative conservation, which in the museum world is things like controlling environments, display materials, mounts.
I'm listening to a webinar thing. Well, it's
oh, sorry, whoever that is, could you mute, please?
Oh, hang on.
Thank you. So preventative steps are literally what it says. It's to prevent the deterioration of things, objects in museums. In the case of rock image sites, preventative conservation is what a management plan is. A large part of your, if not the entire management plan, should have underlying it the concept that you are trying to preserve the site long term. So everybody gets involved with conservation, even though you might not think of it quite that way. And so in terms of preventative conservation, it's things like giving a lot of thought to how you build trails, how you build viewing platforms, whether you fence a site or not. Anything that might physically interrupt what is going on around a site has to be thought of, because it is very easy for something that seems to be pretty mundane and straightforward to long-term actually cause unforeseeable changes to a site. So I ask that every step you take that has something to do with the physical surroundings of a site, and that might be a long way away too. It may not be right up against the site. It could be a mile away at a trailhead. Those are all things that ultimately could physically impact the site. So think about that. Another part of my work, which is extremely important, is the involvement of Native American communities, either directly or in consultation. As it comes to actually treating sites physically, such as removing graffiti, I basically require that my treatment proposals are put to Native American communities for consideration, because there may be things that I would prefer to do as a conservator that are culturally inappropriate or just not acceptable or for Native communities. And that is important to me, and it should be important to all of us. these sites don't actually belong to us. They belong to those communities. That's my personal feeling. And I know it's the similar feeling for many of you here. I also I welcome observers when I'm doing Native American community observers when I'm working. And I've been very fortunate to have some extraordinary working relationships over the years as a result of involvement of Native communities. When it comes, another principle of conservation is to do the least you need to do to preserve something. And I think we all kind of follow that idea, to keep things to a minimum in terms of direct physical intervention at sites. I know I'm going to get asked about graffiti because I always am, so I'm going to try and preempt that and say, please don't try and do it yourself. And I know that's easy for me to say. I mean, talking about cleaning it up, I know that's easy for me to say because there aren't very many of me around to help you guys out. But it is extremely easy to actually make the problem worse. Either the result that you get is not what you want, or it might look like it's what you want, but down the road you suddenly discover you've got a problem, perhaps because you've used a chemical that's inappropriate for the rock that you're working on. I urge you please to get some help from somebody. There are professional conservators all over the country, all over the USA, all over the world. Many of them work with stone. They work in architecture, buildings, sculpture. Whilst they may not have direct experience of rock image sites, they understand the material. And if you think about it, we get graffiti in all sorts of situations. It isn't just on rock image sites. So I would strongly advise you at least ask for some help and some input. What else can I say at the moment in this brief 10 minutes? That's really, I think, the basis of what I want to say is just be careful and be mindful.